Hi, Karen Grace. Yes, the Castle study, which is an acronym, Candida and Staphylococcus Transmission Longitudinal Evaluation. It's a study that was funded by the National Health and Medical Research Council here in Australia, and it's a descriptive study of breastfeeding mothers and their babies. The lead investigator was Dr. Lisa Ramia, and Castle was designed to investigate the role of Staphylococcus and Candida in breast pain and infection amongst lactating women in the first 8 weeks postpartum. There were also a sub-study, MOTE, which looked at the emotional and physical symptoms that women experienced postpartum in the first 8 weeks.
Great, thank you for explaining that to me. Nipple pain. This is something we do hear a lot about, and it does seem to be a problem for a lot of women. Why do you think that is, Miranda?
Looking historically, nipple pain has been a problem for breastfeeding women as long as we have recorded evidence. Niles Newton back in the 50s was finding that 80% of women were experiencing nipple pain, and when we look at the data we have now, it's pretty much the same. Things haven't changed for women, and it's still the second most common cause of women giving up breastfeeding earlier than they wanted to. And if you look at very early on, it's one of the commonest reasons for women to say that they don't initiate breastfeeding to begin with. They're scared of the pain, or that they give up breastfeeding before they even leave hospital. So it's a significant issue for women. And when we look at the pain scores and the commentary that women make about it in qualitative studies, they can be in severe pain, and it can impact their feelings towards their babies and their experience of early motherhood. So it's a big problem.
Yes, indeed, I would agree with you that it is a big problem.
I worked for a long time with premature babies in the NICU before I became a lactation consultant. And in some ways, it wasn't too much of a problem in that environment because our babies weren't breastfeeding all that much. But when I became a mother myself and became involved in the contemporary culture of motherhood here in Australia, it became very obvious how much of an issue it was for my friends and for my clients that I was seeing as a lactation consultant. And it just seems to me that it's an issue that really it's time that we sorted it out and came up with ways of making breastfeeding and the transition to motherhood better for women. And so when I looked at doing a PhD and research, it was one of the primary issues that I was particularly interested in, because it seems to be such a basic problem and something that it's real intrinsic to your experience of motherhood and to enjoying breastfeeding and enjoying being with your baby, particularly in the early days and weeks. And it's something I really feel that we should be able to sort it out. When you speak to a lot of lactation consultants and you read the literature, you'll read things like breastfeeding shouldn't hurt, and yet no, it shouldn't. But we know that it does, and so it's, I think, something that I'm hoping we can find solutions to, and that we can help an awful lot of women and an awful lot of babies.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing that, Miranda. We've certainly found here at Gold Lactation, as we're conducting these interviews with our speakers, that what drives the speakers to present on the topics that they're presenting and come up with that information is a lot of their own passion, a lot of personal experience sort of lay that foundation there. And we do appreciate you being a part of Gold and sharing this passion of yours and wanting to find those solutions for women out there. So thank you very much for being a part of this. And to our listeners, I will just say briefly that you can register for Gold Lactation at goldlactation.com to hear Miranda present on nipple pain in the first 8 weeks, results of the Castle study, as well as 25 other different topics that we have for you this year. Thank you very much for listening. And
thank you very much for having me.